5 Vols to watch against UTSA, and this on offthehooksports.com via Caleb Calhoun. And let's count them down. So number 5 will be, and then I'm going to add in whether or not I think they bounce back and have a fantastic game after I'm looking through. Yeah, most of these guys didn't have a great game against Florida. So the guys to watch, I think essentially, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Caleb, but it's guys that need to bounce back from a subpar performance against Florida. Is that safe to say as far as guys to watch?
Partially, but it's also matchups, believe it or not. UTSA, the guys who really played poorly against Florida are guys that UTSA is somewhat designed to exploit, which is kind of a scary thought if you're a Tennessee fan. And so they actually have to take this one seriously.
All right. But UTSA is not as good as we thought they would be in the offseason. I think you and I would agree with that. They're 1-2 and just lost Army by, I believe, double digits. So I thought they would come in here as a very formidable opponent. I don't think that's the case, but goodness knows that Tennessee's not playing at its best. So if I think this player bounces back, you'll get a Hank Kingsley. Hey now. If I think that he won't, then you'll get a Tracy Morgan.
That's crazy.
All right, number 5. Who is it, Caleb Calhoun?
It is Andres Carrick.
Hey now. I think you will, because Andre Carrick should now be accustomed to playing more with Cooper Mays out and him going into that left guard position as Ollie Lane was forced to move from left guard to center. I think Carrick will play better than he did against Florida when there were all kinds of issues and not being able to move the line of scrimmage. But that was Florida. This is UTSA. So I think he fares well against the Roadrunners.
And they're at home, which helps. I think I was between him and Ollie Lane, but you're more tied into this than I am, Dave. I don't know if Cooper Mays is going to go this week or not. But I will say that Texas San Antonio, they give up less than 3 yards a carry on the ground. They got a top 25 rush defense. So the interior of the offensive line is going to be tested again. Because Carrick and Lane played awful last weekend. It's between those two, and I don't know how much Lane's going to play. That's why I went for Carrick at number 5.
I mean, I understand the yards allowed, but you're talking about Houston Army, and who was their middle opponent? Suddenly it escapes me. I don't who. Well, they haven't played. Here, we'll go ahead and you can go ahead and pull that up while I get to the next one. So number 4 would be
Texas State. Sorry.
Texas State. Yeah. So I don't think that this is a football team that has proven itself by any stretch of the imagination, but certainly better than we thought. Number 4 is Kamal Hadden. I have tried my absolute best to be supportive of Kamal Hadden and his endeavor in college football, but
that's crazy.
I'm off the bandwagon. I mean, Danico Slaughter is a better player, should be back. I just don't see that Kamal Hadden is a number 1 cornerback, even though he has to be a number 1 cornerback if it's not Slaughter.
Last week wasn't really his fault, though. I mean, I know, look, everybody's mad about that non-tackle that was made. That was some of the worst tackling Tennessee gave up on that touchdown run. Kamal Hadden wasn't alone in not tackling on that play. But I got to say that I thought the secondary was largely fine last week. Again, it was the rush and lack of staying in their lanes on the edges that really cost Tennessee in the first half defensively. I don't know if he'll bounce back, but I think he's going to be matched up with Joshua Cephas, who is UTSA's top receiver, who is a deep threat. I don't know if Danico Slaughter, I don't know why he missed last week, but it just seems more likely that Kamal Hadden's going to be responsible for that this week, which is why I put him on here.
Joshua Cephas, no relationship to Hank Williams Jr., Bo Cephas. Number 3, Joe Milton the third, Tennessee's quarterback. Hey now, I have no question that Tennessee's going to put him in position to play well. And if they don't, then you've got big time concerns about not just falling to 9 or 8 wins, but falling to 7 or 6. If he doesn't play well against UTSA, we're having a whole different conversation on Monday.
Yeah, I mean, was there any doubt that Joe Milton was going to be on this list? Obviously, he's going to be crucial in this game. And I'm just looking for, Dave, I don't know where you are, but I'm just looking for those crossing routes, those slants, those passes over the middle. What's the touch on the ball when he makes those throws, and also the timeliness of his throws. Those are the two big things for me right now. The command of the offense, that's going to return. He's not playing in the Swamp. He's playing at Neyland Stadium. It's going to be a lot friendlier crowd. He's not going to have the same issues that you had in Florida. It's going to be the timing and the accuracy. Is there anything else? The timing of the throws and the accuracy over the middle. Is there anything else we're really missing with him?
No, you're hoping for Clemson. I mean, you're hoping for that performance. And when he got the ball out as soon as his back foot hit and it was on the mark, and part of his accuracy issues are slow reads. So that's part of the issue. So he needs to get the ball out quick. Number 3 is number 2 is.
Wow, Dave can't count. Oh, sorry, you came to me. Sorry, I was just saying Dave can't count. But okay, number 2 is John Campbell Jr.
John Campbell Jr.
Hey now.
I think he plays better because this is a different level of competition. I think it's fair to say he's still getting used to this offense, Caleb. And I also think that John Campbell Jr. has shown me flashes of being very good. So I'm not willing to say that he did have a couple of horrible plays early in the season, and you pointed those out, but I'm not willing to say that he's a bust quite yet as a transfer from Miami.
Well, in one way he'll be tested, but in another way it's made for him to show up this weekend. The test is that UT San Antonio, I talked about their top 25 rush defense. They are also 20th in percentage of pass plays that ended a sack nationally. So they're actually really good at rushing the passer. However, their star in that regard, Trey Moore, who has 4 sacks on the year, is out for an undisclosed amount of time. He was a linebacker. So now you don't know what you're going to get. But I still think John Campbell's going to be tested. And look, the tackles are a crucial part of the run game too. So I think John Campbell bounces back too, but either way, he's got to show up.
All right. Number 1 is Elijah Herring. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now.
Hey now.
He will play really well for one of 2 reasons. One, you'll see UTSA try to attack Tennessee horizontally. Now, he's seen that against a better opponent in Florida, so he'll be more adept at that. Not crazy about his physical ability to get sideline to sideline like some of the other players that Tennessee had, such as Keenan Pili, who's hurt, or maybe an Arian Carter, who they think is going to be an outside linebacker, and that's fine. I understand that. But Herring has seen it before, and if they just go straight up more of a typical offense, not constantly attacking the flats and the outside, I think that plays to his game as well. So out of this, you've got him number 1 of players with things to prove. I think he is the most likely to play really well on this group.
Wow, you think he's more likely than John Campbell to play well?
Yes. Out of this group, I think he's the most to play better than last week. Maybe that's a better way of phrasing it.
Okay. No, that I could get with that. I think he's going to play well. I do. I'm with you. I think he's going to play much better this week. And he looked pretty good against Austin Peay, if you remember. And so and also UTSA has some injury issues at quarterback right now and on offense in general that favor Herring because the mobility is not going to be there. So we're going to come out of this game thinking, oh, Herring could be good. But you're right. I think the big thing is the more experience he has now dealing with the horizontal attack that is probably going to be used a lot more on Tennessee down the road, given the way Tim Banks attacks the quarterback.
Yeah, and let's talk about Tim Banks for a second. Tim Banks, I thought, got caught a little bit off guard by the way Florida attacked Tennessee horizontally. But does he deserve a little bit of credit for the adjustments at halftime and what his defense did in the second half when the offense was just kind of sputtering along?
I mean, it's hard for me to say credit because I don't think he was the problem much in the first half. I mean, I said from the start, the reason Florida was able to do that is because the offense couldn't build the lead that they should be able to build. I mean, how many times have we talked about this, Dave? Tim Banks has built a defense that plays off the offense. It reminds me, for those who don't remember in the NFL, the mid-2000s, the Colts, yes, they didn't have a good defense. It was never a top 10 defense. But what did they do really well? They rushed the passer. Remember Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis? They just unleashed them and played a cover 2. The whole idea was Peyton Manning will get us a lead. teams will try to come back and will unleash Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis and play a soft cover 2, and they won't be able to come back. That's Tim Banks. That it's not the same scheme, don't get me wrong, but Tim Banks' defense is more vertical stunts, blitzes, things like that, when you know teams are going to try to get the big play to come back and get into the game. Florida didn't have to do that at all in the first half. I think what really happened in the second half was Tennessee just ran the ball a lot better, quite honestly. And that wasn't really the line. I think Jalen Wright just ran harder because he didn't have a lot of help. So that was
very
different.
fair. Bender of Strings says something that I'm going to disagree with here, Bender, and I appreciate the comment. I don't think that at any point Florida took their foot off the gas. I think that was their game plan, was to keep the ball in possession, whether or not that was the first half or the second half. So I don't think it was taking your foot off the gas. Good morning to all of you all joining us now. If you're in the morning, if you're in the evening, well, you can watch it now. We're non-linear media. So let's take a look at 5 UTSA Roadrunners to keep an eye on. So Caleb, give me number 5 on your list. You got Frank Harris at quarterback. Why is he not number 1?
Because he didn't play last week because of an injured toe, and he may not play this week. And if he's not, it's Eddie Lee Marburger who should be on here. But Frank Harris, when he's healthy, is still a really, really, really good, dangerous quarterback. Look, this list was already hard to do. It's harder when 2 of UTSA's best players are hurt. Frank Harris one and Trey Moore the other.
Okay, number 4.
Number 4 is Kavorian Barnes. He's their running back. He's not averaging 5 yards a carry, but he has 51 carries, 245 yards. And similar to Heupel, Jeff Traylor, the UTSA coach, is going to use him a lot as a workhorse before he can try to churn the deep ball.
All right, number 3.
By default, because of the fact that Trey Moore is hurt, I've got Danyai Taylor at number 3. He's a linebacker safety hybrid. Got 3 tackles for a loss this year, but also watch out, not him, a former Tennessee player, a teammate of Bryson Easton's at Whitehaven, Martavius French, is now at UTSA, who is also playing linebacker. So keep an eye on him. That's if Danya Harris doesn't work out, or Danya Taylor, excuse me.
Number 2.
Brandon Brown. I talked about UTSA's top 20 rush defense and then being in the top 25 in sacks. Brandon Brown plays nose tackle for them. He doesn't get a lot of stats, but he is the anchor that makes that go. So watch out for Brandon Brown, particularly when, as we've talked about, the interior offensive line for Tennessee last weekend was historically transcendently awful. So,
and then you got Joshua Bo Cephas, who was born to boogie. Do you even get my Hank Williams Jr. references?
No, sorry, I don't.
He's great. There's a message board. Tell me if you get my Bo Cephas references. Joshua Bo Cephas, he was born to boogie, and it's a family tradition that he catches deep passes down the field at UTSA. There's 3 references to Hank Williams Jr., by the way.
Okay. Well, he stands at 6'3", and he has 24 catches, 247 yards, and you don't have faith in Kamal Hadden. So it's possible he goes off. So watch out for him.
All right. There you go. Breakdown of players you need to take a close look at on Saturday. With quarterback issues, there's no reason the Vols shouldn't go out and beat UTSA significantly.